already apart. Are we supposed to go live?
I think we are live.
Are we live? We're live right now? All right. Well, welcome.
We are live. It is Friday.
Welcome to our Friday live. It's, we're trying to figure some working name for this because everyone's at lunch. Obviously, we're not at lunch, we're working. But so is it lunch with engine power, or we have some working names for this, don't we?
I'm not really sure. I think right now it's just PowerNation live.
I'm just kind of making it up as we go.
Looks like we are live on, let's see, I think we're live on there, Let's see, definitely live on that one. I think we're doing pretty good, yeah.
All right.
So we'll kind of, as people jump on here, we'll get going.
We're taking this time right now to get a little bit of extra work done. As we've said before, 80% of what we do is off camera, and that includes, making sure everything is right before we start filming. So the prep work is the prep work. Like this is a fresh set of rods. We're going to start checking for bearing clearances. So they come torqued up. So we're breaking them apart. Got to get them all clean, get the bolts re-lubed, and then do our normal bearing clearance stuff. And that we'll shoot that for content. So. All
right. If you guys have any questions, start getting them together now. Start putting them in the comments. We're going to answer questions throughout the video, and definitely at the end we're going to do a little bit of Q&A. So if you think of any questions about current projects, old projects, or just what we're doing in the shop,
just whatever,
drop a comment with your question.
Okay, so I guess first one is, what are we doing right now? Well, right now we are prepping to work on and shoot the bearing clearance setup for our giveaway engine. This current thing that we're working on is a 534 cubic inch Big Block Chevy that's going to be a giveaway engine. This is something that you can actually win, but we have to first get the thing together, get it ran, get it tested, and so right now we are going to do a few things for bearing clearances, and then we're going to shoot that a little bit later today.
Yeah, so if you saw, this engine was at the PRI show. It was actually in the UEM booth, UEM Pistons booth. So basically what we do on every engine, and this is just kind of standard engine building practice, is we mock up the entire engine. We get everything together, we check everything, and we put it all together and test fit everything. And then we take it all back apart and assemble it for real. We do our final assembly. You've probably heard us use that term before. So basically what we did is we used the mock-up time. We assembled everything, sent it to the PRI show so you guys could see it, enter to win. And then what we did is we blew it all back apart, and we're going to shoot the final assembly for you guys so you can have some cool content. So what this is going to be, like he said, it's going to be a 534 cubic inch Big Block Chevy. It is a short deck Big Block Chevy, so it's going to fit wherever a conventional Big Block Chevy goes. It's going to have nice trick flow heads, but the whole thing is going to be painted orange. So if you haven't seen it yet, make sure you stay tuned for the show, but also get entered to win. This is free to enter. You don't have to buy anything or anything like that. You can just go to basically the giveaway page on PowerNationTV.com. You can also hit the QR code at the bottom of that board right there. That will take you to the giveaway page. Put in some information. You'll be entered to win, and one of you lucky guys is going to get this Big Block Chevy. I mean, we wish we could win it, but we can't. So
we can't win stuff like this.
Hopefully, it will go to a really good home. It's absolutely awesome. We've done a lot of engine giveaways that get used, and we get to see where they end up later on in life, and it's really cool to be able to give back to you guys. Somebody gets a really great engine, maybe picks up a stalled project, or maybe they just get a bunch of more power than what they're running right now. So it's a lot of fun for us, and hopefully someone will get this and enjoy it.
So when you win it, make sure that you actually show us where it goes, tag us in it. We'd like to know what happens to things, and so far so good. We've had some people like really be, include us in what the project was, and show us what it was. So very, very cool.
Yeah.
So as a recap, it's Friday. We were at the PRI show, like we were saying. This PRI is like our favorite time of year, right? Because it is the showcase where we can go look at all the new stuff, get ideas for shows, get ideas for content, get ideas for what we're going to be building next. So we spent a few days in beautiful, blustery Indianapolis, which it only wasn't bad. Last day it got down to like -5 or something like that, which that doesn't really, it's not like we're doing it outside. It's inconvenient when you're walking around because, well, it's a little cold out, but we don't care. We are out there and we're there to learn. PRI is a good place where if you want to be in this industry, this is where you go. This is where all the newest, latest, greatest people are, where they showcase all of their parts. PRI is very similar to SEMA. SEMA has more of an expo feel because it's like more total vehicles and stuff like that. The PRI stuff is really geared towards around racing of all types of sanctioning bodies. So
yeah, so it's absolutely one of our favorite times of year. Now we're just trying to get as much done as we can before the holidays.
Oh yeah.
So including trying to get this thing together and get it on the dyno so you guys can see how much it actually makes and get it ready for whoever wins it, the lucky winner. So this thing's going to have a bunch of great parts. It's a Summit Racing SPC Big Block Chevy block. So priority main oiling, very, very good cast irons, a very rigid block. It's very dimensionally accurate. We honed it here. So our final bore size is 4.610. We'll have a 4-inch stroke. It's a trick flow set of 365 heads. It's going to have a 4,500 intake. That's pretty short, so it's kind of going to be hidden. And we have a throttle body, a Nemesis throttle body fuel injection unit that we have a 16-inch air cleaner for. So it's going to look kind of old. It's going to look almost like an L78 Big Block Chevy or something like that. We got chrome valve covers.
Yeah, we went through the hassle of getting a set of old style valve covers to kind of mask this. It's kind of like the idea was to have this be a sleeper engine. It looks like an old school, smaller cubic inch deal, but at 534 cubic inches, it's going to make a lot of torque. It's going to make some great power. Keep in mind, this is pump gas stuff. We're not going to set this one on kill. This is going to be a fun street engine, but that doesn't mean it's not going to make a lot of power, because it is, and it's going to make great torque. Shortening up the cam, put a hydraulic roller in it for ease of maintenance, something that's just...
Won't have to turn a bunch of RPM.
You can put whatever in it for gas. We prefer 93, but if you want to put some 87 in it, it'll still run. You're not going to put it on the edge of destruction, because that's what you don't do with street engines. Cylinder pressure is a funny thing because everybody wants more, but the more you make, the more careful you have to be with everything. Mostly it's the tune-up, and because you can really get yourself into the weeds and do something really bad and blow something up by putting bad gas in it, putting too much timing in it, making it too lean. What we like to do is we keep everything relatively in a safe area here, so anybody that duplicates what we do, they can have fun with it, and it's not going to be on the edge of destruction. We do that for racing. Engines, consequently, will run the very, very best on the edge of destroying themselves, and so that's what racing does. Street stuff, we try to keep it simple.
Yeah, so let's see what else. Well, we could make our way to the dyno because we have a brand new episode that is out
Hopefully
today.
People have already got looking at that one.
If you haven't already seen it, you need to go to the Engine Power YouTube page and check it out. But here, we'll go to the dyno room. I'll bring this with me in case we get any good questions, and we can go kind of show you what we're talking about, maybe talking about a little bit.
If you remember a couple of weeks ago, we actually did a live dyno poll on this very engine.
Yeah, so this is an engine that we actually had previously built, I think last year sometime. So this is a 427 cubic inch small block Chevy. This is an aftermarket block, a Summit block as well, actually, because they've done a really good job with that. Has a set of trick flow 230s, Jessel valve train as far as the rocker arms. It's got a Summit cam in it. And what we did was we brought it back. This engine made good power, made over 600 horsepower naturally aspirated last time with a single plane intake and a carburetor. We brought it back. We switched it to Holley's new high ram front feed EFI intake manifold for the small block Chevy, which is pretty cool because now you have a drop on EFI manifold for one of these things.
Very low profile. So
very low profile.
Fits in like
runner.
F bodies and stuff like that.
Yeah, it looks kind of tall just from the design, but actually if you had like a decent, tall single plane manifold with a carburetor then an air cleaner, it ends up about here anyways. So it's actually not as tall as it looks. But yeah, so we brought it back, put EFI on it, and then we added two 66, 62 turbos from Summit Racing Equipment. Did all the fab to make them fit with these Flowtech headers. This is a set of forward and up Flowtech headers that are, nice stainless system, so nothing will rust or anything like that if you want to use it over time. But yeah, so this engine made a large amount of power.
If you watch the video,
if you watch the video, you'll see it made a very, very decent amount of power at relatively, we call it high boost, because for a street engine, this is still geared as a street engine, hydraulic roller, lower RPM, things like that. For a street engine, it made a very, very good amount of power. The most boost we put on was 24.5 PSI, but even at 15 PSI, this thing was just,
great power.
Making great power. So, and you could absolutely, we got, a lot of questions about it last time we did the live dyno pulls, turbo sizing, things like that. There's a lot of things you could do to make this engine make more, but because it is oriented for the street, the turbos are sized that way so that this thing has a lot of, it loads right in, spools right up, even at 3,500 RPM. This thing's making over 1,000 pound-feet during our boosted pulls. So it's a very, very good combo. And, it was really cool kind of to end out the year on this one. I think this will be the last dyno session of the year.
Yeah, it was. And this engine is very, very robust. That's one of these things where we were doing our in-betweens and we're tuning some stuff in, getting the fueling right, getting the timing right, just making sure the dyno works correctly, because when you increase the power, the dyno has to make sure that the dyno is working properly, and it does. Superflow does a spectacular job on their controls. We have the new Windyne 5 set up, and it works very, very well. But this engine has, I think we even said it before, has over 70 pulls on it at over 1,000 horse, over 70 pulls at over 1,000 pound-feet. And so there's the question of hey, do we build just dyno queens? Of course not. This is an engine that has already seen a lot of abuse, and I'm sure we're going to put it in something as projects come up. You just never know what. But this is definitely something in inventory where it really makes a lot of power. It's a great engine, and we always get this question as well. Well, what if do you need to have an LS platform to make this kind of power? Well, obviously not. The engine, even the old school type stuff, very, very good. And can you make power with them? The proof is in the pudding. If you watch our latest YouTube drop on this one's on there. It's really fun. So
yeah, no, I mean,
and it'll make more, but we purposely shut it down where we were. And,
I mean, we stopped at 6,800 RPM, and if you go watch the last dyno pull, it is trending up. And this is kind of fun because something that we don't normally do is usually we're making content for you guys, so we are always in a bind to make our content and get on to the next one.
That bind is called time.
Yeah. So basically, usually what we'll do is we shoot our content and we give you guys a tune-up that's engine's never going to hurt itself, something that's very easy to put together, and then what happens inevitably every time is that we finish our content, we finish shooting, we have a little bit of time to mess with the engine while they edit the show and stuff like that, and so we get to tweak it and play with it a little bit more. And that's basically, we did that this time, and then it was just too cool that we basically had to come back. We're like, hey, we have to show this. This is, I'll just drop it right here. This is the most powerful engine we've ever had on our dyno, which we've had some pretty decent stuff.
We've had some spicy stuff.
A lot of 1,000 horse plus stuff, but this is the most powerful engine that we've ever had. So that was something that we wanted to show. It was really cool. And basically, all we did was went back through, made the engine a little bit happier. We were able to put a little bit more boost to it.
Spend a little more time with it. That's always a challenge. And this particular one, this is the same, what like Frankie was saying, both the power and the torque were both in the quadruple digits the whole time. So really, really fun.
Yeah. So yeah, if you guys have any questions about this build, the engine, the show, or whatever, again, make sure you put them in the comments, or any of the engine power projects. Really, if you have any questions about them, put them in the comments. We're going to be answering those later as well. So yeah. Yeah.
So this is obviously our favorite room. We always say that because it is, because we're data nerds, right? We're data freaks, right? And anything that we can do aside from just the normal thing where we can, again, if we can spend a little time that just gathers data that we can use on other builds that are similar. Engines in themselves are very similar, and everything parallels. So what you learn. Would you learn something on this that you compare to a big block Ford? Of course, right? An engine is an engine is an engine. So trends will be the same no matter what the platform is. There are certain ways that things are designed that make them a little bit more of a challenge or less of a challenge to make power. But engines are engines, so everything applies as far as from a physics standpoint, from a chemistry standpoint, and from a mathematics standpoint. So.
Yeah, and we try to collect as much data, again, kind of as we have time for. So we have a great dyno system like you're talking about. So we have the capability to do 8-channel EGT, 8-channel O2, back pressure, and all that kind of stuff. And if we had a whole nother day and a half or so, we could have set all that stuff up. But again, we're down to the wire on stuff. We're in a crunch just like everybody. It's just the way of the world. But yeah, I mean, this setup, I think there's ways you could scale it up and there's ways you could scale it down. Yep. But for a good street engine, I think it's super solid. And I can't wait to put it in something which, maybe we have some ideas.
No, we definitely have some ideas.
Yeah.
And maybe, it's just kind of talking about this off the hip here. What would you think of us doing just a regular dyno show, right? Just like dynoing, just from stem to stern.
Yeah.
One particular platform, because dynoing, people don't realize a lot of times, like dynoing has a lot of phases. You can use the dyno to break in your engine. You can use the dyno to what's called steady state testing, where the engine just basically is at one level horsepower and under full load. There's step testing, where instead of a clean sweep, it will step, step, step. There's lots of ways to utilize the dyno in testing. And
we can program sweeps as well.
We can 100% do that.
Our current, the standard, basically, what most people do is called an acceleration test. So we have a set RPM, and then it sweeps to a higher set RPM, and we determine the rate in between.
Right.
But with our dyno setup is very, very nice. So we can actually program it so it runs a lap at like a dirt track or something like that.
Yeah.
And pulls the engine back down, loads it back up, and we have an electronic throttle and everything, so we can modulate that, and we could write a program for that if we wanted to. So yeah, I don't know if that's something that'd actually be a really cool show idea. Drop a comment if you guys would want to see this, because that's something we could do. Is from like you said, stem to stern. Like, here's what it takes to get your engine set up on the dyno. Here's all the hookup. Here's what we measure. Here's what we want to see, and then how we start the engine for the first time. What we're looking at, and then how we go from starting the engine to making pulls and tuning on it and things like that. That'd be a really cool show, I think, actually. That'd be a good idea.
That's one of the things that we get a question, just to touch on that briefly. People talk about the acceleration rate of the engine. Like, sometimes people are like, well, the engine is struggling to do that.
Yeah.
Just to clear the air, we are the ones that determine the engine's acceleration. Like, we hold the engine back and accelerate it at a given thing that we plug in for power. Depending on how the application is, you can accelerate the engine at 50 RPM per second. You could do it at 500 RPM per second. We are the ones that determine that. Industry standard is usually about 300 RPM per second, but depending on the engine's construction and what it's used for, sometimes if you do it too slow, you can actually put the engine into a very, very bad condition where it will start to detonate because of its cylinder pressure. If you do it too fast, you're just not going to be able to measure the load, and the engine's not going to perform the way it's actually designed to if you do it, if you do it too fast or too slow. There are things that we operate in a certain range, and our certain range is pump gas.
Yeah.
So when you're operating on pump gas, that you have limitations.
Yeah, and it really is determined kind of by the application. Like, we generally use 300 a second because that's a very stable RPM acceleration rate, and it kind of equates to like the high gear in a car.
Going down a drag strip.
Yeah, but if you're doing something like circle track or something like that, you might actually want to have a faster acceleration rate, because it's also from a tuning standpoint. You want to get as close as you can to what the vehicle's going to do. That way you can accurately set up the fueling, whether it's carbureted or fuel injection. You can accurately, set up the fueling and timing and everything to where the engine's actually going to be running when it gets out into the real world. So that's something that we determine. So if
a drag car is like different than a Bonneville car.
So a Bonneville car's acceleration is like 5 a second, maybe. 5 RPM.
But you understand, that's what we're trying to convey is if you had an inertia dyno, that works the opposite way. The engine has to move a given weight at a given diameter, and it measures the amount of time it does it. So it is strictly dependent on how the engine works. We do it the opposite way. We actually control the engine's acceleration. So hope that clears up a little bit of when people say, well, that engine sounded lazy. Well, it does, because of where we're doing it. If we have something that's in a range where, especially with big cams, you're not going to take a cam that's a large cam and accelerate it from a very, very low RPM range, because the cam and the way the engine is working is not going to be very happy at that point. So
all right, we're getting a few more people on. So I think we're doing pretty good. We're getting closer to maybe answering some questions.
You want to go out here and just look at our stuff we have that. Okay, so
Or
now,
other
I
stuff,
know we're an engine place, but we still work on cars. You know, we still kind of know how to do that, right? So the last thing that we've been working on as far as in the shop is, well, this is a 1956 Chevrolet. And by its attitude and its look, yeah, it's probably not hard to determine that it's a gasser.
Yeah. So this one, this is something that we've been planning on doing, thinking about doing for a while, because we kind of love this style. We love this body style for sure. It's one of those iconic ones that really never gets old. And so for this, what we did for a power plant was we actually built this engine for this chassis.
Pretty much specifically for this vehicle.
Yeah. So what this is our 509 cubic inch W series. So you probably saw this earlier this year that we built. If you haven't, go check out the video on our YouTube channel. But this is a Bill Mitchell Products block. So this is our W series block, and it's really cool because it takes a lot of Big Block Chevy components as far as crank, rods, timing cover, cam, stuff like that, where there's a lot more available if you want to build a big inch version of one of these.
It's easier to do it with a big inch deal, and because you have some parts that are more readily available than the old 348 409 configuration.
Yeah, so we had a custom cam ground by Comp Cams, a set of Edelbrock heads that were reported by Lamar Walden Automotive because they're basically the 409 experts. We also have a dual quad Edelbrock intake manifold with a set of 2x4 Phytech system on there. So we have throttle body EFI, so we have nice control over that and timing. And this it's very Spartan on the front, because for this car basically all we need is an alternator. We're gonna have manual brakes, manual steering, but this thing's gonna be set up. When it's done, it's going to be extremely cool. It's going to be a street car still, but we're definitely going to take it to the drag strip and see what it does. And this is going to be like our house car. So this is something that we could absolutely keep for several years and maybe several different engines. Maybe we'll switch it to a small block next.
There might be something that's in the next room that could go in there, but we're not making any promises. But I know that we think about that. As soon as we saw what kind of power it made, we know where that could go very, very easily.
Yeah, and this is pretty cool because it's starting out with a nice chassis. It's a checkered racing chassis. This is literally it's a gasser chassis for Tri-5s. So they have it for 55. This is for 55 and 56. Really, really nice chassis. We got a ladder bar set up in the rear, and we came with a cross member and stuff that we got tacked in there. So the engine trans is already in and everything. It's already set.
That is something we actually had to determine, because it comes with a universal cross member that goes on the engine, but the actual all the sciencing out of how it fits, where it fits, its driveline angles, we actually had to do that. And we've built cars before, so we determined what we were going to do. And the biggest key on this one was
headers, man. So if you don't know, 409 headers, kind of hard to come by. This is actually a set of Hooker Super Comps that are not for this car, but it is one of the biggest primary tube 409 headers that you can get. It basically is the biggest.
If you don't make a custom.
Yeah, if you don't make a custom set, which we could totally do, but it would take a lot of time. It'd take us about a week and a half to build a custom set of headers for this. So these are actually for like a 61 through 64 Impala, Bel Air, a passenger car or wagon.
58 through early 60s cars and wagons.
Yeah, so we just got these for the dyno originally, so we had something to dyno the engine with. And then when we got this engine in here, we were kind of looking at them. It's like, man, if we can make those work, that will save us so much time. So we actually were able to, they fit around the frame and everything. And then all we had to do was basically down here, which you have to mind my fab skills because somebody got a little crazy with the plasma cutter here, but we're going to fix that.
That's just temporary.
Yeah, we had to notch the body mount and then had basically so that the pipe can run through. So we did this on both sides. This side's a little bit more of a deep cut, which don't worry about that.
I'll fix that later.
But yeah, so we have a piece of 4.5 inch OD 250 wall tubing in there that we basically sliced up to fit it perfectly, and that'll sleeve it. That way it reinforces the body mount, and we can run a pipe through there. But that was basically the only modification we had to make the headers fit, which is crazy. So if you're looking for headers for a W Series swap Tri-5, there you go.
Yeah, you just got to put the engine in the same place we did.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's going to be pretty close. I mean, it clears the leaf springs, it clears the frame. We can probably still run our evacs. I know on that side we definitely can. On this side, it's a little tight, but I think it'll be fine.
You don't know what a relief that was that those actually will work. So
just saved us a lot of time. So this thing's backed up by a TKX from American Powertrain, so we'll have a nice, very smooth shifting 5-speed. It's good for a lot of power, good for pretty high RPM shifts too. I think it's like 7,500.
Yeah, this engine's we're not going to turn this engine probably 7,500.
No, but you never know what's going to go in it, so we
Yeah.
can use that later and later. Which the trans mount is in for real. We got a shifter hole in it and everything, so we're doing pretty good. We got to get a few parts for it, and then we will. This is going to be kind of in the background until we get some more stuff for it.
Yeah.
And then we will bring it back and work on it a little bit, and till we get it finished.
Yeah, no,
basically.
we'll actually be able to pay it off at a track this year at some point. So we'll be able to get to drive it around and take it to a drag strip. It's going to be a lot of fun. And again, this is one of those things where again we maybe build maybe one vehicle a year, and this is we've been angling for doing one of these for a while, and it's finally come to pass, and we couldn't be more excited about it. So stay tuned. This thing's going to be up and running. Probably not like next week, but it's going to be we're going to get it running and take it out driving around and have some fun with it. So are you looking at questions?
I was scrolling through to see if we have any. Yeah, I know it's kind of the holiday season, so I don't know how many people are going to have questions and stuff.
Yeah.
But let's see. Let me just refresh it real quick. We did get a lot of comments about how much people love this car.
Oh, excellent!
Which is awesome because
we
think
love it
it's
too.
Cool too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Now this is really fun. This is and this car was in actually spectacular shape. As far as there's no big holes in it, and it didn't need a ton of body work. The actual car was like super solid, and so when it went on the chassis was super accurate. Nice job, Checkered Racing. You guys did a great job on that because everything is really nice. Everything fits well. Everything goes together well. So
let's see. We got we got a few here that we can go through. Let's see. First one is here. Actually, this literally just popped up. Any plans to do a single versus dual turbo comparo on the small block Chevy? I mean, let's put it this way: if everything's right, they will make the same amount of power.
Right.
And that's just depending on what you want to do with the engine. Because we could absolutely do, we could do a single, like a big single. You could make those turbos bigger too if you wanted to make more power. So that's not, that's kind of dependent on the application. Mm-hmm. I mean, that could be kind of fun to compare it. If we come up with the time, we could do that. Yeah.
Again, we are limited by we have things that we have to do. That we do this for a living. So there's some things that we have to do, and sometimes we have to just abbreviate time. Believe us, we would like to do all of that. We'd run a bunch of turbos, run a bunch of everything across it: cams, turbos, intake manifolds, everything.
Yeah, and if you guys want to see more of that, like dyno comparison content, where we literally just dyno stuff and test it, let us know, because we read all these comments, we listen to your guys' feedback. That way we can determine, what we're doing for the show and stuff like that. So if you want to see more like that, put it in the comment section. Let us know what you want us to test, or just if you just want us to run certain engines and run parts across them. That's something that we'll absolutely look into doing, and maybe for more content coming up, we'll do that instead. But all right, let's see. We got another one. Someone asked, I believe they said A-gas, so I assume that they're asking if the cars, we're building it for an A-gas class. Right now, it's just a street car.
Right, it's a street car. Very A-gas-esque.
Yeah,
So,
it will have a roll bar, just for added safety and good harnesses.
We'll be able to. It'll be a track, legal car. It's like if we take it to some place where they check you for tech, the car will be legal for tech. Now this thing is, we're not going to try and put it in the sevens, in the quarter mile with the thing yet.
Not yet. I mean, if we do that, then we'll change a lot of stuff, and we'll build a full cage and everything.
Yeah, we'll do this. We'll do safety stuff accordingly. Like it'll have good seats, it'll have good harnesses. It does have a roll bar, so we can mount our safety stuff in there good. And but for the most part, this is a street blaster. So
let's see. Next one. What are your thoughts on modern day engine designs? It's kind of a big question, but I think in general, if you're talking in general terms, they're killer, because all the manufacturers have pushed towards obviously more efficiency, which they're doing that for obviously fuel economy and emissions concerns, but that also means the engine is more efficient. If you can burn the fuel more efficiently, you can make power easier. So we are all about efficiency, whether it's volumetric efficiency or just thermal efficiency,
mechanical
for the engine.
efficiency. The thing is, engines now are so much better because the materials are better, the way things are machined are way better, the tolerances are tighter. There are things that just make the engine more efficient. The friction has gone down because of all the materials that are being utilized. And yeah, again, efficient means power, right? And that's where when one of those things, if you have to think about it, when we make any engine, even these old school engines, they make more power, they become more efficient, right?
Yeah.
And so that's one thing they actually, the kind of, sometimes people think that's not the case. Well, no, they burn cleaner and they make more power.
Yeah, I mean, look at the LTs, look at the Coyotes. Yeah. I mean, these are engines that, yeah, a lot of it has come down to, not only volumetric efficiency, but also like chamber design. They've done a really good job of trying to get as much as they can out of the fuel. So, yeah, we're all for modern engines. I mean, we like old school stuff. We also like modernizing old school stuff. So
we've done that before. So
let's see. We got, is there a build video for the giveaway engine? We are currently working on it.
We are working on that right now.
So there will be one coming in the future. We are literally working on shooting it. That way you guys can see it. We're going to dyno test it, obviously, before we give it away.
There's a piston for it.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool piece. So that's an Icon Elite Series piston from UEM. And
don't let that big dome scare you. It's still going to be pump gas friendly.
Yeah, it's still going to be pump gas, and we're going to have all of the benefits of fuel injection and timing control. So this thing will be, the idea here is when we do giveaway engines, we try to make them as easy to swap as we can. Basically, hopefully you just have to trade out the headers and then hook up a few things and go. So this engine being fuel injected, whether you're from Colorado or you're in Florida, you'll be able to hook up a few wires, put fuel to it, plumb your exhaust correctly, and start the thing. So that'll be cool. But there is a video coming soon.
What else?
Let's see. This is a good one, actually. Advice on cranking a V6 Bush odd-fire 13.5-to-1 engine that has been in storage. That's not a question you get every day.
No, that's a great one, right?
That's pretty cool.
I mean, any engine that is set, what happens is obviously all the lubrication that was in there present when it was new or whatever was built is now in the bottom of the engine, right?
Yeah.
So when you're going to turn over, or what, it's the easy thing you do is you can pull out all the spark plugs, squirt something in the cylinder, a little bit of oil, a little bit of any sort of lubricant in there that's petroleum based, and then turn it over easy, and that will get that back lubricated so you're not metal to metal contact. The majority of wear, 80% of any engine's wear, is on cold startup. And that goes for everything. That's why, on race engines we heat them and prime them first. So get the oil moving around so there's not that metal to metal contact. We try to minimize that. But something that's sat for a long time, it'd be nice if you could squirt some stuff in the cylinders and get that lubrication back in the cylinders and on the rings. Also, if you can prime it, that's another really, really big one. Actually turn the oil pump and then easily turn the engine over, get oil to all the bearings again, and get oil going around there where it's supposed to be before you go ahead and fire it up. So.
Yeah, and something that a lot of people don't really think about, especially on something that's, I mean, if it's set for 2 or 3 years, you're probably okay unless you're in a really humid climate, but something that's really old and sitting for a long time is valve springs. If they start to get any corrosion on them, the engine will probably start and run, but you kind of have a ticking time bomb at that point if there's like a fair amount of corrosion, because that weakens the valve spring, and you might think, okay, great, it runs, but that's almost basically a service item, especially on like race engines. If you have an X-race engine, that is a consumable at that point. So something to think about as well is, maybe if you have a way to rate the springs, you can check them that way, or just count on maybe changing those out. You can get it running and stuff, but before you start, beating on it,
pounding on it,
maybe look at changing
again.
them.
We're all of the. You've heard us say this before. We have different levels of Molly Hatchet, and that is a reference for the song "Flirting with Disaster." You ever heard that song? So we have levels of Molly Hatchet. It's like we don't want to flirt with disaster. We want things to start up and run and be safe. And when you're doing something bad, it's not hard to figure out. But we try to minimize all of that. We're not going to send it right. We want stuff. When you build it and you run it, it's to as good of a piece as we can make it. Right?
Absolutely. So. Yeah. All right, this is one that you'll absolutely love. This is a good question. I notice you're using the hone rather than boring. Is there a limit to how much metal can practically be removed by honing?
Not particularly. When you have a nice rigid setup, it is obviously more time saving if you can bore and then hone, right? But honing doesn't necessarily do anything bad, especially when you have rigid ways of doing it. Because the big thing on cylinders is their cylindricity and how accurate the cylinder is. If you can keep the cylinder round and straight, I don't care how you do it, you can do it with diamond abrasives, and that's what we do. Just from a typical time standpoint, if you have a block that you are honing to size, and say that the final size is 30 thousandths more, on our particular hone, a Sun and SV15, it's a fantastic hone. With our abrasive, we have a coarse abrasive, 150 grit diamond abrasive. It can take it from out to size. Basically, now it does generate heat, so you have to let it cool down. But it's typically between, depending on the substrate, which is what kind of cast iron it is, how hard it is, what it's made out of, from a regular cast iron to a compacted graphite or some hardened iron, depending on how it Brunels. It's roughly between 24 and 28 minutes per cylinder to get from a standard bore size to maybe 30 thousandths bigger. And then you literally have to let it cool down, remeasure, and then go from there. But it doesn't have anything effective as far as, like, it doesn't really affect the cylinder as much. Now, if you're going to measure it on the micron scale, if you're an F1, maybe, but for anything that we do in any realm of street stuff or even some race stuff, honing it that much doesn't affect it, because you have rigid abrasive. On vitrified abrasive, the actual abrasive follows its substrate. On diamond, the diamond is harder than the cylinder, so if the diamond is straight and goes in its proper geometry, then it will make a straight and round hole. So.
Yeah, that's an important point, because that is all predicated on proper setup.
Yes.
If you have abrasives that aren't properly broken in or something like that, you could get all kinds of crazy issues. But I think the biggest one is time and just wear and tear on the machine, basically. When we do hone, like I say, we hone 30, 40, 50 out of a block or something, we usually have to change our filters and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, you're very careful about it, right?
Yeah,
so.
But yeah, if you have a way to bore it, that saves a lot of time. And the stuff that we're boring like a lot, if we're doing like a big cut on something, we'll take it up to...
We'll have it bored,
we work with Shacklet Automotive Machine here in Nashville, and those guys are great, and so we'll take it up there and have them bore it, and then we'll finish it here.
But most normal stuff, we can do it here with it has absolutely no detrimental effects, and you can keep it nice and round and straight. So.
Yeah. Let's see, what else we got? Somebody's asking about a dual outlet turbo that won awards at PRI.
I didn't see that.
We did not see that, but now we're going to go check that out.
Now we're going to have to go look. Thank you for the heads up.
That's pretty cool. Someone asked if we sell our engines. We really don't, because honestly, we like keeping them for not only content. That, if you noticed,
we're engine hoarders.
Yeah, if you watch the show for a while, we'll bring engines back and we'll reconfigure them, test parts, whatever. We also build the engines for the 3 other shows here at PowerNation. So Music City Trucks, Blacktop Speed Shop, and Dirt and Trails. If they have a specific engine that they want, we'll either build it for them if we don't have it, but we have a good inventory now. So if they come up and say, hey, we want a Ford, Chevy, Mopar, whatever, we have almost a couple of everything, so we can provide those.
Engines are, how much power do you want to make, how long do you want to make it for, and what fuel are you using, and that's how we base everything. So
yeah, let's see. I think as far as questions go, where you guys are located, we're in the Nashville area.
Yep, Nashville area.
So, which is great, because we're close to a lot of like PRI and stuff like that, a lot of big events, which is cool.
And a bunch of good restaurants.
Yeah, a bunch of good restaurants. Let's see.
I got a couple from Instagram.
Yeah,
let's hear them.
Let's hear them.
Where can we be found on TV?
Ooh, that's a great one.
Oh man, we're gonna talk to our marketing department about that one.
Yeah. No, so everywhere. It's really there's honestly that's the best answer, is everywhere. But so easiest place to find us obviously is YouTube. If you're watching us on Instagram or Facebook, we do social media there. We also air all of our shows on YouTube if you're looking for something specific, and we have new drops almost every week. As far as like watching the shows on TV,
yes.
If you have basically any kind of smart TV at this point, we have a dedicated channel that runs 24/7. So things like Roku, LG, Vizio,
Amazon,
the Pluto, the on TVs, ONNs.
Yeah.
We have a 24. There's like 16 different ones now. That we have a 24/7 channel that runs on your smart TV. That it's our show, it's the other 3 shows, it's old content, new content. So you could literally put it on and have it run all day, all night. And then we also do air on a lot of local channels. I
Yeah.
think it's like 106 different local channels in the U.S.
Yep.
That our shows are aired on. So that's something where you have to check your local listings.
And that's every affiliate. That's ABC, CBS, NBC, and Fox. Our parent company, Gray.
Yeah.
We're everywhere in the U.S. We are, 100 plus
Yeah.
places. So check your local listings on those affiliates, and
Yep.
chances are you're going to see us.
Yeah, so you can go, if you want to see the entire list of everywhere we are and like channel numbers and things like that, you can go to PowerNationTV.com website,
Yeah.
and there is literally a whole tab that is where to watch. It tells you everywhere that you can see our shows. So if you're looking for us, go there. You can find out what's the best way for you. What else you got?
How many more do you want to do?
As many as you
Let's
got.
go. What time is it?
What do you got? Oh, we got a little bit of time, yeah.
Yeah.
Would you guys ever do a RB26 or a 2JZ build?
Yes.
The answer to that is a
Absolutely.
resounding yes. And when
Yeah.
we are we're trying to make all the things come together so we can do that, right? And it seems like we just pick stuff out of the air. It's almost that simple, but not really. We have a lot of things that we have to make happen all at the same time. They have to have it, the stars
together, yeah.
the stars come together, right, for it to do. But that is 100% on everyone's list, including ours.
Yeah,
right? So-
and honestly, a 2JZ is a little bit easier, mostly because it's a little bit more affordable. The RB26s they're not as common, and those engines were purpose built basically back in the day.
Yeah.
And they're a little more rare, a little more expensive. Very, very cool as well. But honestly, if we do import inline six, it will probably end up being a 2JZ
Yeah.
first. But we're looking at that. We're looking at K24s,
Ooh, the K24.
maybe even a BMW engine. So.
We like engines. So just so everyone knows, we're not engine biased towards anything. If it burns gasoline and diesel for that matter, we like it. So we think about a lot of stuff, and we're trying to make it all. Again, because we get to do what we do, there's a good chance that we're going to see one here pretty quick. But we're just keep watching because we are actively trying to pursue that. So
Yeah. What else you got?
What are your thoughts on knurling pistons?
knurling pistons, eh?
Yeah.
Myth or fact?
No, I can
it's a
tell you,
fact.
it's a fact. Back in the day, and I'm going to date myself. I worked in a machine shop in the '80s, right? Knurling pistons was one of those fixes where if you had too much bore clearance, and I personally knurled hundreds and hundreds of pistons, right? And it's more applicable for lower speed things that you don't have a piston available for it, or you're freshening something that it's a low RPM, more of an industrial application. Is it done in cars? Absolutely. Back in the day, it was pretty common because a lot of times you just couldn't get something in time, or you didn't have anything available to actually do an oversized piston. So yes, knurling is 100% real. I know there have been discussions of its performance benefits. Well, that we're gonna kind of leave that one alone because in the perfect world you would just do it right for the application, because it's just not about the knurling. It's about the piston's material. It's about the block that you're using it in. It's about the fuel you're using. It's about how much power it makes, and it's about how high you turn it in RPM. So all those factors determine a whole lot of things. Will knurling get you somewhere where you need to be if you need something that's making a lot of noise and you need it to stop making that noise and you need it to work? Yes, you can 100% do it. It's just not very common anymore. Don't particularly recommend it for anything. It's almost automotive. Right?
I think it's one of those things, and there's several things that are like this. That is it possible?
Sure.
Does it work? Yes. Has modern technology kind of pushed it out of the way? Yeah.
But there's nothing it's not viable.
Yeah, it doesn't
and again,
mean it doesn't work.
There's
Yeah.
again, everyone's different and every application is different. If it works and it's viable and you have the ability to do it, I have no problem with it, because what you do, okay, for instance, when you knurl a piston, you knurl the piston, and obviously it makes the skirt raise up, and the peaks of those knurls are what now is your clearance. It's not the actual skirt itself that bears load. It's the peaks on the knurl, right? And that's what we would literally tune these things with emery cloth and get them back in there. And okay, will it retain oil? Of course, because now you have reservoirs in the actual skirt that retain oil.
Big ones.
Big ones. And but it reduces the load carrying capability of the skirt, and it also it's going to wear out faster, because once you start wearing through those peaks, you're just going to have the same situation over again. But is it real? Yes. Does it work? Of course it does. But I think there are better options for what you're doing there. So.
Yeah.
On the same topic, is it only useful for boosted diesel? Turbo diesel, sorry.
The piston knurling? I mean, there's, again.
I mean, it's a little more general. Like
That's, yeah.
it's a little more general than it's not like specific to
Right.
that world.
No, it's basically to repair something as economically as possible.
Yeah, I would say that was its original purpose.
That's its original purpose.
And that's the way it was designed to be used. And yeah, like I said.
But if you're knurling pistons for your diesel, we're all for you.
Yeah, I mean, if it works, it works.
Yeah,
We always say that. If it works, it works. If it works and you do it right, then hey, we're not, we're all for it.
Yeah,
so,
no, we learn stuff every day. So if
Yeah.
that's something that's applicable, and again, in the grand scheme of things, it's lower RPM.
Yep.
It's
yeah,
sure.
People want to know how the twin turbo performed, but I'd say go watch the episode.
Go watch the
Yes.
episode. It dropped
Yeah.
this morning at 9 a.m. Central, and we thought it was really fun.
Yeah. Go to the Engine Power YouTube page if you're not already watching us there.
Yeah.
Make sure you go to the Engine Power YouTube page and watch the latest video because it's a bad man.
It's pretty fun.
It's a bad dude.
And at any point in the poll, it like literally has quadruple digits.
Yeah.
And that's
On
cool.
power and torque.
And power and torque.
It's
so.
pretty cool.
All right.
All right. Any other major ones?
All
right.
I think we're good. All right. Anything
we're
good?
good.
All right.
Think
Well,
we're
thank
good.
you, everybody.
Yeah.
We really have a lot of fun with this because it gives us a
absolutely.
chance to show you around for one thing, because we at any given point we have a lot of cool stuff going.
Yeah.
And anything that's like these questions, these are great questions. Keep them coming. We love doing lives. And you know where to watch us. I mean, there was something that we just explained on that, but you know where we are: Instagram, YouTube. We're on Facebook.
Yep.
We have all the stuff that our own website.
So we'll just go through the list. Follow us on social media:
Yes.
Engine Power and PowerNation on Facebook, Instagram. Make sure you subscribe to the PowerNation YouTube channel and the Engine Power YouTube channel. Go check out our latest video on our twin turbo 427. And man, I mean, other than that, make sure you get entered to win in our giveaway engine.
Yeah.
That 534 Big Block Chevy.
We want to live vicariously through you.
You could win it. It could be yours. So make sure you get entered. And yeah, we love doing these lives. So
Yeah, man.
tell your friends, tune in every Friday. We won't do one next week because it's the holidays.
Yeah, but we want to grow this. So it's because the more people watch, the more cool questions, and the more everybody gets to learn, including us, right?
Yeah. So make sure you tell your friends, and I think that's it. We're gonna go get some lunch, maybe some Vietnamese. I don't know.
What?
I don't know.
That's what I'm talking about.
Let's go find out.
All right. Cheers. Thanks for tuning in.
See ya.